What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Gordo Show, my coins and cryptocurrency news cap for Wednesday, October 18th, 2017. On today's show, we're going to take a look at the Bitcoin drop, well, actually the overall market drop, and why that is the case, and we actually have some pretty decent evidence for that. So we'll take a look at that. We'll talk about Overstock once again, take a look at why their shares actually make for a pretty decent stock purchase because of their involvement with blockchain, and then we'll take a look at the 3 new tokens that are being added to Ledger wallets. As a reminder, the opinions you hear on this show are not financial advice. They are my own, so please do not take them as such. And I want to give a shout out to the random individual, well, not random, this individual LSS, whoever you are. Thank you so much for the 10 Zem donation. I greatly appreciate that. All right, so let's take a look at the market here because Bitcoin has been struggling, unfortunately, today. Of course, when that happens, it sends the entire alt market down along with it, but it fell to about 5,100 per CoinDesk today on CoinMarketCap. I think they only have it measured to about 5,200 US dollars. But see, we were sitting up here, and as you guys remember, I was kind of predicting maybe a bit of a pennant pattern forming as we had that big run up and had some bit of some consolidation kind of forming there that usually then leads to another leg up. But that usually holds true when we have a steady type of news and no major scrutiny or no major regulations that are coming down the pipe, courtesy of course, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and we'll talk about them here in a little bit in that report that just came out. But outside of that, we have had a few gainers out on the market against Bitcoin. So IOTA is up today against Bitcoin. That's, of course, easy to spot. But most everything has pretty much fallen. IOTA, Lisk is up 4% today. Stratus actually surprisingly up 12%. We have a few others here. You can see some bigger losers, Monocoin, but they, I think, were kind of long overdue for a big fall off. VeChain actually is up today. I believe they just established a partnership with PwC, if I recall, or there are sort of some rumblings or grumblings of a potential opportunity there with PwC, and then of course with potentially Alibaba, which I think is sort of the big reason for that run up. We also have Navcoin that's been up big. They've been kind of running here a little while. Neblio holding strong. If you guys remember my show yesterday, I actually talked a little bit about Neblio. Going to be a competitor kind of to Stratus. Good low market cap or good low total supply. Could be a good opportunity here for the long term. No Limit Coin up huge today thanks to Superman. If you guys didn't catch his video today, I actually am not surprised to see that up big. And then Sprouts is up big, and Sonum is up as well. So let's take a look at this report here. So this came, the reporting for this came through courtesy of CNBC. Not always my favorite, but they do have some good reporting that comes through, and some relatively knowledgeable people of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies that like to come on. Evelyn Chang, she's a pretty common reporter in this space. And they just sort of came out and talked about the plunge that came through, how it fell about 9% thanks to this new report from the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission. And after that big run-up we had, it only makes sense that we have a bit of a fall-off. Now, I wasn't necessarily expecting it to occur this way. I was maybe looking for some of that natural consolidation to come forth. We get a bit of that pennant triangle pattern forming that would then get pinched, and then we would, of course, expect either a run up or a run down. This kind of just caused the price to more or less fall off a cliff, or maybe fall down a step stair or two. So fell about 500 points. The low was here courtesy of CoinDesk 5,100. Before it then bounced back up, and it's currently sitting again around 5,400, so not too shabby. But what the reason for this is that the CFTC put out what they were called a CFTC report primer on virtual currencies, and that it goes through and it talks a lot about the risks and sort of classifying what Bitcoin is and what the benefits are, how you can sort of understand it or establish it from a taxing perspective. And really, this is going to be kind of leading into any type of futures contracts that are going to be coming out in the future, any type of ETFs, the regulatory bodies within the, call it the regular financial space, are going to have to start getting involved in cryptocurrencies in order for maybe the big hedge funds and for a lot of the other institutional money to come into the space, because it can be rather tougher or a little more challenging for institutional money to come in and purchase Bitcoin. It doesn't seem that the capabilities are quite there to allow investors to purchase actual cryptocurrencies and store them safely, just because of, whether you think about private keys and getting access to them and those funds and how you can send them and this and that. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of protection there for any entity that is going to look out and actually legitimately invest in the actual, call it physical Bitcoins. More, they're going to have to look into some type of exchange traded fund or futures contracts, different ways to sort of maybe bet on cryptocurrencies and more specifically Bitcoin. So this is a report. I'm going to toss it into the description below for you guys to take a look at. But what it is just, it's intended to be an educational tool, as per you see here. So they go through and they overview it. They talk about, again, the risks, what the role of the CFTC is going to be. And again, this is really setting up cryptocurrencies and more specifically Wall Street for an opportunity to bring in futures contracts and other types of financial vehicles into cryptocurrencies that maybe aren't what we would think as traditional in cryptocurrency, but is going to be more risk adverse and just going to be a safer way for them to get involved. So it goes through, gives the overview, but more specifically, it kind of gets into, the risks. Here is the potential use cases. So there's actually a decent amount of good information in here that hopefully the common man or woman can go in and look at and sort of understand. You can see here the actually have use cases of blockchain and distributed ledger technology. And then they go into the role of what the CFTC is going to be. And I think that this is probably where this worry comes from, outside of the fact that anytime a U.S. regulator is going to get involved, it's going to cause markets to maybe sell off and want to take some profits and maybe move some money out. Play it safe. That's always a smart thing to do. So what it'll and I do like what I see here in this report. It's going to be a lot of talking about preventing fraud, protecting the investors from ICOs. As much as I don't like the government getting too involved with cryptocurrencies, and I think that it will be a challenge for them to get involved, other than to say tax it or just outright ban it. The ways in which they can help to try to prevent any type of fraud is a-okay with me, especially when you see so many crappy ICOs that come through and there's just not a lot of, I guess, fail safes in place for investors to be in here. So they define cryptocurrencies as commodities. So it would be much like gold or any type of other commodity that you could buy. Therefore, you would pay capital gains tax on it. So it's treating it almost like it is treating it like an asset and not necessarily currency. It's not treated as a valid currency as of this point in time in the U.S. And that's another thing that that this report went on to clarify as well. So here are some, prohibitive activities that they're looking to maybe clamp down on, ICOs. Here are some risks. So this is something that, unfortunately, like I said, it causes a lot of worry when it comes to cryptocurrencies. This is still a very, very young industry, a very young market, and it's going to be vulnerable to this type of, not necessarily FUD, but this type of impact coming from regulators, whether it be in China closing down the exchanges and banning ICOs and things like that, or you have other continents and other countries banning ICOs. They're going to have their impacts based on their maybe their weight in the market, and of course the U.S. has a big weight in cryptocurrencies. So naturally, when these types of reports come out, it's going to have a bit of a negative effect. So yeah, be sure to check this out. It's a pretty simple read, but this is probably the reason why cryptocurrencies unfortunately plunged here today. So now moving on, Overstock shares will explode 230% to $100 on blockchain hype per an investor. Now, as you guys know, I've talked about Overstock quite a lot. Patrick Byrne, who is the CEO, is a big believer in cryptocurrencies. He actually has reserves of cryptocurrencies through Overstock. They accept Bitcoin, they accept Ethereum, they accept a lot of other cryptocurrencies courtesy of Shapeshift, but they also, again, hold those reserves much like you would hold reserves of gold, and they plan on using that as an asset class or as an investment to, of course, fund new purchases in the future. Now, Overstock's current shares are sitting, or they're lingering near all-time highs per this article here, thanks to Cointelegraph. And so what this investor believes is that, it's an independent investor named Mark Cahodes. he believes that the stock is going to go to 100. So that's going to almost, it's going to probably go up to almost 3 times where it's currently at. So, and a lot of this has to do with the fact that they're simply going out and pioneering in the blockchain space, but they're also opening up that ICO exchange or that ICO trading platform that is going to be SEC compliant. So, be on the lookout for Overstock. I think that could be a potentially interesting move to pick up some of their stocks. I'm potentially looking to pick up some of the securities as well. So we'll just see if this rings true. But I think that if they do continue to play in this space and continue to try and be a leader in blockchain and cryptocurrencies and just this space in general, they are going to, much like anyone or any early adopter in the space, or whether it's a country like Japan adopting it or a company like Overstock, I think that there is a lot of benefit to that, and I think that there's a lot of opportunities there to really grow and be a major player in not only the space but in other markets and other ways as well. So maybe you want to go check that out. I think that is an interesting thing to take a look at. And once that ICO trading platform comes out, that's going to be pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it's better than something like Ether Delta. But then again, Ether Delta is decentralized, so there's not that third-party worry. But if Overstock does it right and it is SEC compliant, there should be no problems with it, and maybe it'll compete with some of the other high-profile exchanges out there like Bittrex and Poloniex. And then lastly, Ledger came out and announced that 3 new coins are available on their Nano wallets. Pivx, Vertcoin, and Viacoin are now all available in the Ledger Manager. And you can install those very easily and get those into your wallets if you guys are Ledger holders. So as you guys know, I'm a big Vertcoin believer. I think that given where the space it plays and it's how long it's been around and it's how it works similarly to Litecoin, but it also has the one-click miner. I think Vertcoin is a good long-term play here. Could also be a good short-term play for some day trading or swing trading. It's something I've been doing here. I'm actually waiting for the price to drop down here right now. Pivx, of course, is the private cryptocurrency that had a big run-up back in the altcoin bubble, really fell off, but has since been holding steady. And then Viacoin too. And this is good validation of coins too. Ledger isn't one of these, much like any, whether it's Exodus, Ledger, Trezor, any of these wallets, if they're going to go ahead and put these coins onto their wallets, there's certainly, that is a validating fact or a validating point to these cryptocurrencies. It shows that they are going to have good long-term potential, and at least Ledger sees that as well. So good exciting stuff there. If you guys have those coins and you have your Ledger Nano wallets, toss them into cold storage and you can protect those assets and keep them in cold storage. So that's it for me today, guys. I appreciate you sticking around. It's kind of a shorter episode. Not too much going on in the news when we have these big fall-offs, but always exciting to see some different things, whether it be from Ledger or Overstock, but then also good to see what is causing these fall-offs in Bitcoin, because it's better we know where it's coming from than maybe not know where it's coming from and kind of trying to scratch our heads and figure it out if it's whether it's manipulation or something like that. At least we know here because of this where things are going. So until tomorrow, be sure to do your own research, disregard fiat, and acquire Bitcoin, and we will see you then. Take care, guys.